Hello, 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 and welcome back to my channel, and thank you to the people who have been waiting for this video for over a month. Thank you for your patience. For those who are not in the loop, this is a Create a Sim video that was supposed to be part of a collab that should have gone out in mid-August. I've been sitting on this footage for over a month now, recorded it in late July, early August, intended to post it on the intended week. However, I had recorded the footage in MKV or something like that, and it would not take to my editing software. Fortunately, I discovered that all I had to do was remux it to turn it into an MP4 file. So here the video is. Better late than never. If you're wondering what this is all about, basically, I participated in a nursery rhyme collab. I selected Jack and the Beanstalk. This collab was hosted by asphodelmoon and violetbluesims, two lovely simmers. You can find both of them on Twitter. You can find Asphodel on YouTube, and you can find violetbluesims on Twitch. And I will be linking all of the participants and collaborators in the description if you want to check out their videos from almost a month ago. They are really good, the sims and the videos, so please feel free to check them out, show them some love, because they all did an amazing job. Now, allow me to walk you through my thought process while creating these sims. When I first chose Jack and the Beanstalk, I knew I didn't want to make the classic little white boy from England that is in all of the versions of this story. I wanted to seek out the origin of this story to see if there was any way I could add some diversity. Because all of the versions you've seen of Jack the Beanstalk are very whitewashed because, well, I'll admit, the story does originate from England. But after doing a little bit more digging, I discovered that many people theorize that the story of Jack the Beanstalk originates from stories told 5,000 years ago about the boy who stole Ogre's treasure, told in Indo-European languages. Now, if you're like me and have no idea what they mean by Indo-European languages, I dug a little bit deeper and discovered that it's essentially what has now become a lot of the Indian and Pakistani population of England today. So I thought it fit perfectly with both the modern population of England and also the history that it actually has, and it paid tribute to people who aren't white. So I found inspiration on Pinterest and got to work. I decided to make Jack a teen rather than a child because he has two distinct traits in his story, and that's being an animal enthusiast, specifically for his cow Milky White, and a kleptomaniac because he steals the giant's things. And then I gave him the country caretaker aspiration because he just wants to live on a farm with his cow. He doesn't want to sell it. I gave both of them all of their outfits, so they're fully clothed, they have proper outfits, none of them are weird, and they're all time period appropriate, which I found to be the hardest thing, because not many of the packs that we got with The Sims 4 include old clothing that makes sense in medieval times. And also, note, because I recorded this in late July / early August, I did not have high school years yet. I had not bought it because the game was glitchy. This was pre-hotfix. This was while the aging glitch was still a thing. So that's why I filmed this cast video, because I had nothing else to do. I couldn't play the game. I chose the last name Masood for Jack because in the original fairy tale, I don't believe he has a proper last name. He's just Jack. And then there's his beanstalk. And with the ethnicity change, I needed a ethnically appropriate name. So after doing some research, I discovered the last name Masood that means fortunate. And now, depending on how you look at it in the perspective of the story, it's either irony or possible foreshadowing, considering he does find many treasures thanks to the beanstalk. Now, I originally planned on also making his mother because she's a relatively integral part to the story, but by the end, I wasn't really into it. I just wanted to make Jack and the giant because those are the most important characters in order for the story to actually happen, because the story is the boy who stole Ogre's treasure, so I needed the ogre. But when I was planning on making her, I intended to name her Ebra or Ibra, which is a Urdu name, I believe, or Islam name, that means wisdom to learn from experience, which is kind of poetic and applicable because she does try to teach her son to learn from his mistakes and stuff like that and be responsible, and she kind of fails, depending on what version of the tale you watch. Like the Into the Woods version, she ends up dying because of her son's mistakes. In the original story, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how it pans out. I know in general they tend to be happy endings, but sometimes the original fairy tales can be a bit darker than the adaptation that we all see as children, because no one wants to be sad when you're a child. That's what teenage depression is for. I'm sorry, that got dark. I think at the time of making the giant / ogre, his name didn't really have a meaning, at least that I knew of. I think I just chose a name that sounded nice from the Hindi name generator that I used. But upon further research, his first name, Ajit, means invincible, which is kind of true of a giant. He's pretty big, probably hard to take down, and unfortunately he was taken down in the story. And his last name, Salim, means safe. And in the clouds, you're, expected to be safe, but of course if someone has magic beans that grows a beanstalk up to your place of residence, then that kind of goes out the window. Now, another thing about the giant, you may notice that I made him a spellcaster. That's because I intended to give him the curse of repulsiveness, so that way he could have the ogre-ish skin, like the green skin with the mounds, so that way he would look more ogre-like. Unfortunately, it didn't end up working that way. I had to duplicado him and have his duplicate cursify him, and that's how I got the screenshots. But that's why I made him a spellcaster. Didn't really work out, but I mean, it kind of fits. Magic guy living in the sky. Kind of works. As for his traits, I interpreted them to be hot-headed because he kind of flies into an enormous rage when someone steals his shit, which is understandable. Materialistic because he has a lot of things that he cares very deeply about. And he's kind of a loner because living in the sky isn't exactly conducive to a social lifestyle, And as for his aspiration, he just wants to continue building his collection in peace. He's a curator. He wants to collect all of the things. Honestly, growing up, you realize that the giant is a lot more of a sympathetic character than we were led to believe. Sure, his reaction is a little bit extreme, but how else do you expect someone to react when someone breaks into their home and steals their really valuable items? When you think about it, what is Jack and the Beanstalk trying to teach our kids? That you should steal things from a really big guy? Because historically, that doesn't really work out for very many people. And back to the giant himself. Especially if you watch the Into the Woods version, he has a wife. Maybe kids, probably just the wife. He didn't deserve to fall down a beanstalk to his death. Alright, mini rant over. These Sims are on the gallery. My gallery ID is Eddie Sherman, capital E, capital S. I will link it in the description, along with all of the other collaborators' YouTubes and Twitters or Twitches, whatever they have. And I'm gonna end this voiceover here, and I hope you all have a lovely day. I will not see you because this is a parasocial relationship. You will likely not see my face, but you will hear my voice in another video. Alright, goodbye.